tuition now.
No.
This is an online meeting of a student organization called U Chicago for Fair Tuition. They're demanding a refund for half of their spring semester tuition because they say their online classes aren't the same as being in the classroom.
I'm a visual arts major and I don't have access to my studio or any of the art resources anymore. My senior thesis show was canceled.
Over 2,000 students have signed the petition. In early May, some refused to pay tuition until university officials hear their concerns. The university says it won't raise tuitions and suggested students unable to pay should apply for benefits or ask for a deferral. Students say the University of Chicago, one of the wealthiest in the country, can afford to return the tuition.
Total, that would cost the university less than $85 million, which might sound like a lot, but that's actually a tiny, tiny fraction of their endowment, which is over $8 billion.
All across the U.S., students of dozens of universities are signing petitions and filing collective lawsuits. But experts say their chances to win are minuscule.
Most institutions live hand to mouth. They are very tuition driven. There simply doesn't exist a giant kitty, a giant piggy bank that they can say, oh, here's 20% of your tuition back. Harvard might be able to do that if they do some super drawdown from their endowment. But most institutions are not well endowed. They live year to year based on the tuition revenues that they get from their students.
Feldman says universities' costs actually increased during the quarantine.
The institutions have had to buy technology upgrades. They've had to reorient their teaching, their advising, their counseling, and all of these other activities into a remote setting. The buildings are still being paid for. The equipment that our buildings are stuffed with are still being paid for. We haven't mothballed the campuses.
Another challenge is how to measure the difference between online and in-class education.
And if a college didn't previously offer online education, you don't have whatever the tuition was that they charged. And most of the colleges that that have online education, in addition to face-to-face education, charge the exact same amount. So except for classes that are outright canceled, I think it's very hard for these lawsuits to succeed.
But students' lawyers disagree and say they don't have access to labs, libraries, and other support the student paid for.
It's a contract issue. You were promised a certain type of education, and the university has breached that promise by not providing it. We're not faulting the university, but they just can't provide what they were contractually obligated to provide.
Students are also demanding a refund for accommodations, meals, and public transport. Attorneys say the lawsuits may take some time to play out in court, but students are hoping both sides will reach a compromise before then. Felicia Bakalets in Washington, Anna Rice, VOA News.